Hello and welcome to Everywoman. I'm Shuli Ghosh. On the programme this week, dying to have a baby, the horrifying statistics and the battle to reduce maternal mortality. In the race for the US presidency, did Hillary Clinton show her softer side? And singing behind bars, the jailbird performing in a Colombian prison. In developed countries, women take health care for granted during pregnancy and childbirth, and the chances of dying from complications are extremely low. To put it into context for you, the maternal death rate among women in the richer countries is just 1%. The other 99%, or more than 500,000 women a year, perish in the poorer regions, mainly sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. The scandal is that most of these maternal deaths are entirely preventable. Well, to talk more about this, I'm joined now from Geneva by Daisy Mafubedu, the Assistant Director General for Family and Community Health at the World Health Organization. Daisy, thank you very much for joining us. Now, you were a midwife, so just talk us through the kind of complications that can lead to death in pregnancy and childbirth.
Thank you and good day. The complications that arises in childbirth that can lead to death, the direct ones, at least 3 of them, it's infection, which we call sepsis, bleeding, excessive bleeding. It can lead to death. Sometimes even within an hour and a half, a woman could die because of bleeding. And of course, obstructed labor. Those are the 3 main direct causes. Of course, we have other indirect causes, such as malaria in pregnancy, and sometimes some malnutrition that takes place during pregnancy could eventually lead to a woman dying.
But many of these conditions are preventable if they're caught early enough.
Yes, they are preventable if they are caught early enough. So the most important thing here is that we need someone who is trained to be able to identify these causes early and to put in place mechanisms or give the woman treatment in order to prevent this from happening.
Well, as we've said, one of the worst affected areas is sub-Saharan Africa. Let's take a look at one country in particular. Malawi has the 3rd highest maternal mortality rate in the world after Afghanistan and Sierra Leone. Now, the government there has launched a $2 million program to reduce this, but progress is slow. Everywoman met Emily Willie, a Malawi midwife struggling to make the difference between life and death.
Most expectant mothers in Malawi do not have easy access to clean medical facilities. They rely on informally trained traditional midwives, such as Emily.
Ndene natuma azibale achacha magadi anuthamanga kupita kunyumba ukatenga hwiroba ndeyo aja anasafika mochedwa nde anamuyika mu hwiroba koma magazi anadzadza kwambiri mu hwiroba nde mmene ankafika chapa dibi pasi basanapezeka kuti patient kumwalira.
In her 45 years as a midwife, Emily has seen many women die trying to give birth. Her clinic could not afford an ambulance or a car to take pregnant women to the nearest hospital if complications arose. But in 2002, the international NGO World Vision donated to the clinic a life-saving bicycle ambulance.
Chiwerere chanjinga yathandiza azimai 6-hour operation. Pika nthawi yomwe ndimaponya panjingayi kuchipatala akapita naonso kuchipatala amatumiza kuti onsewo ali ndi ana amoyo.
But the bicycle ambulance needs maintenance. It has to travel far and across bumpy tracks. 5 months ago, the stretcher's tyres were badly torn. Since then, the bicycle has been out of action.
Amalipira ndrama kumama ngothokoza. Ndesi ningakwanitse mwene ndekha kupeza matala ni majubu.
The aid workers that provided the bicycle ambulance have tried to encourage people to find solutions to their problems within the community.
World Vision trained 14 traditional birth attendants, and all of these were provided with these bicycle ambulances. We tried our best to empower the community to look after all these bicycle ambulances in collaboration with the traditional leaders.
Today, all 8 village chiefs have gathered to meet their local MP. Emily is going to plead her case.
kuti matayala atheratu machubu atheratu yoti ndithandizidwe ndiyanjinga kuti nangati ngachite bwanji.
In the end, the decision is unanimous.
Ndi njinga dero sini njinga meje imathandiza. Ndi akanati komera bentima akukonzekera akuluakulu akuti apanga bwanji.
3 days later, new tyres arrive.
Ndikusangalala kwambiri ndipo ndikuthokoza chifukwa chonena kuti vuto lilonse lingabwere mwadzidzidzi ndi kuti ndiligonjetsa munthu apita ku chipatala.
At sunset, a woman arrives in late stages of labour. Emily examines her and realises that her condition is extremely serious. She needs to get to the hospital as soon as possible. In normal circumstances, she'd be taken there on the bicycle ambulance, but that could take over an hour. The mother and baby's lives are at stake. Emily asks us to drive the crew's car to the hospital. This will get her there in 10 minutes. This woman is expecting her first child. She has not been keeping her prenatal appointments with Emily. Until this morning, she was working in the fields, and now she's too weak to push. First-time mothers are vulnerable and supposed to go straight to the hospital. But people fear trips to the hospital because of food and transport expenses they can't afford. Emily suspects this family timed their arrival to force her to deliver the baby.
Ndi pamene amabwera naye ataona nthawi yoti kwazamba akangofikira kubereka mwana. Ndiye ndi pamene zinalephereka ndinaganiza zomutengera ku chipatacho. Ndine ndimaona ngati zimene amachita zimasokoneza ntchito yanga.
The condition of Emily's patient is serious, and she's referred to a city hospital an hour away. There, she safely gives birth to a healthy baby boy. Back in the clinic the next day, and it's our last day of filming, a woman in labour arrives. This time, no complications and no rise to the hospital, just a healthy baby boy.
Amayi amawuza nawo kuti munabadwa chifukwa cha amayi awawa. Ndi ana aja madzi onse amavina pachapa pa mtengo aja onse aja obereketsa ineyo. Ndi ana aja amabwera ena kudzatunga madzi, ena tinkhuni, ena kundithandiza kuweta mbuzi. Mopanda malipiro akuti kundithokoza.
Well, Daisy Mafuberu from the World Health Organization is still with us. Daisy, women like Emily there obviously do a tremendous job in the community, but there is a shortage of trained medical staff in Malawi. Why is that?
Indeed, Malawi do train medical staff, both doctors, nurses and midwives. But what really happens is that most of those people that are being trained then migrate to developed countries. So there's a huge brain drain. And although Malawi keeps training people, they are not enough to sustain them because they keep leaving. To give you an example, it's about 60% vacancies within the health institutions in Malawi.
That's obviously a serious problem. And the other thing which struck me just watching that report there was that women themselves seem to prioritise their own health in a very low way. It's not as important as other priorities, for example, feeding their family or whatever. Their own pregnancy seem to be quite low down on their list of priorities, taking care of themselves.
Yes, it's most of the cases it's like that. I think it's also an inherent quality of a woman who wants to really take care of other people to the detriment of their own health. However, if women are well educated and their socio-economic status improves, it has been shown that it directly impacts on how much they care for their own health.
Okay, so what is the Malawi government doing about this to try and reduce problems in pregnancy and childbirth?
Malawi government is one of those governments which I would say have shown real political commitment. They're having a roadmap which tells them exactly what strategies they are going to implement in terms of addressing the human resources shortage that we talked about, but also addressing other areas, because it's not only human resources that is a problem here. We also have situation of drugs, situation of other supplies, which they are having a shortage of those things.
But do you think that enough is being done, Daisy? And the reason I ask that is because I know that countries like Malawi, for example, still spend more on AIDS and malaria than they do on women's health. And I know AIDS and malaria are very serious problems, but do you think the commitment is there to deal with women's health issues?
I think, yes, the commitment is there. It's just that there are so many priorities that countries are faced with. Our responsibility, of course, as the international organization, is to highlight these problems, to say, yes, we have HIV and AIDS, yes, we have malaria that is claiming lives, but hey, we have another big problem, maternal mortality.
Daisy, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. It was great to have you. Well, coming up on Everywoman, Hillary Clinton's moment of weakness, or was it a savvy media move? And we go inside a Colombian prison to meet Hashima, a convicted drug smuggler who dreams of a future as a singer. That's after the break.